The rain fell hard that night, cold and relentless, washing away the last bit of light from the narrow streets. Inside a half-broken wooden house at the edge of town, a single father named Daniel sat staring at the few dollars left in his hand. His little boy, Ethan, was asleep on the couch, covered with an old blanket. The roof leaked, the lights flickered, and the world outside had long forgotten men like Daniel. He had lost his job weeks ago, and dinner was often just bread and water. But he never complained, not when Ethan smiled at him with that pure faith only children have. Then came the knock that changed everything. It was soft at first, then urgent. Daniel opened the door to find a young girl, maybe 10 or 11, soaked to the bone, shivering uncontrollably. Her clothes were expensive but torn, her shoes muddy, and her eyes wide with fear. "Please, help me," she whispered. Daniel hesitated. He had nothing. Not even enough for his own child. But something in her trembling voice, something in the way she hugged herself against the cold, cut through all his doubts. He took a breath and stepped aside. "Come in, sweetheart." The girl hesitated, then entered. Daniel closed the door, shutting out the storm. She sat near the small heater while Daniel found an old towel and wrapped it around her shoulders. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Lila," she said, still trembling. "I got lost. I was supposed to be with my dad, but I ran off after the car stopped. I thought I could find something on my own, but I don't know where he is now." Daniel sighed. She looked like she belonged to a different world, clean, soft hands, a golden necklace glinting under the weak light. Probably from a family that never worried about money or food. But tonight, none of that mattered. He gave her a cup of warm tea, just water with sugar, but she drank it like it was heaven. Ethan woke up and rubbed his eyes. "Dad, who's she?" Daniel smiled softly. "Someone who needs our help tonight." Ethan nodded and offered her his blanket. "You can have this. I'm not cold anymore." Daniel's heart broke and swelled at the same time. His son had nothing, but still gave what little he had that night. As the storm roared outside, Daniel watched over the two sleeping children. He didn't know who Lila really was, or why fate had brought her to his broken doorstep. But for the first time in months, he felt a strange peace, like maybe, just maybe, he still had something good left to give. The morning came with soft light filtering through the cracked window. The rain had stopped, but the streets still glistened with puddles. Daniel made the last bit of porridge for the kids. Lila woke up, blinking in confusion, then smiled when she saw Ethan holding out a bowl for her. "You're safe now," Daniel said gently. "We'll figure out how to find your dad today." But before they could plan anything, a loud knock echoed at the door. It wasn't gentle this time, it was strong, commanding. Daniel froze. He opened it carefully, and before him stood a tall man in an expensive suit, flanked by two men in a black car behind him. "Have you seen a girl?" "About this height," the man demanded, showing a photo on his phone. His voice trembled between fear and anger. "She's my daughter. She went missing last night." Daniel's eyes widened. "Lila," he said, stepping aside. The man's eyes darted past him and landed on the girl. "Lila," he shouted, rushing inside. The girl dropped her spoon and ran into his arms, crying, "Daddy!" Daniel stood quietly, a lump in his throat. Ethan looked up at him, confused but smiling. The father hugged his daughter tightly, whispering something Daniel couldn't hear. Then he turned to Daniel. "You found her?" he asked. "She knocked on my door during the storm," Daniel said humbly. "She was lost and scared. I just gave her a place to stay." The man's eyes softened as he studied Daniel, the old shirt, the tired eyes, the broken furniture behind him. "You sheltered her, without even knowing who she was?" Daniel nodded. "She's a child. That's all that mattered." The man took a deep breath. "Do you have any idea who I am?" Daniel shook his head. "I'm Richard Holloway," he said quietly. "CEO of Holloway Enterprises." The name was familiar, it was plastered across billboards and magazines. Daniel's stomach dropped. He had once applied for a janitor's position at that very company but never got a reply. Richard looked around the small, worn-out home, then back at Daniel. "You didn't have to help her. You could have called the police, but you chose to keep her safe. You have no idea what that means to me." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a thick envelope. "Please. Take this. For your kindness." Daniel looked down at the envelope, then shook his head slowly. "No, sir. You don't owe me anything. Just, take care of her." Richard stared at him for a long moment, almost stunned. Most people would have taken the money without thinking. But this man, this struggling father, had a kind of dignity money couldn't buy. Lila tugged at her father's sleeve. Daddy, can we help them? He helped me. Please? Richard's eyes softened. He nodded. 2 days later, Daniel received a call. It was Holloway Enterprises. They offered him a stable job, warehouse supervisor, with benefits, a good salary, and housing assistance. Richard himself had made sure of it when Daniel showed Ethan their new place a week later, a clean apartment with real light, no leaks, and a warm kitchen. The boy hugged him tightly. Did that man give us this? He asked. Daniel smiled. Maybe. But I think it was your blanket that started it all. The father and son laughed, their hearts finally light again. And far away, in a grand mansion, Lila hung a small drawing on her wall, a picture of 3 people sitting by a heater on a stormy night. Above it, she wrote in her careful, childish handwriting,